It should go without saying that full odds shiny hunting is slow. Like, really slow. If you've ever streamed or watched full odds hunting on Twitch, you've probably seen a chatter say something like, "I don't know how you have the patience for this, I could never do something like this." The secret is that we're not actually that patient. Spend enough time around shiny hunters and you'll for sure hear any of them complain about that one Pokemon that just won't shine. In a way though, I think this is a good thing. One of my favorite things about shiny hunting is that any hunt you start can end up being shockingly quick or agonizingly long, and you have no way to know beforehand. This is why I don't enjoy things like shiny Pokedex completion rewards or event distributions, because the surprise of the shiny showing up when you least expect it is so much of the fun part for me. Over the course of a hunt that's gone on for way too long, people start to associate it with you, and you can gain a whole new appreciation and level of attachment to a Pokemon because you spend just so much time with it. That's what happened to me with Riolu. Lucario is something of a poster child for Gen 4. It got a lot of hype, including an entire movie, before Diamond and Pearl even released, and I remember hearing people at school speculate on its true nature. Is it a legendary? They made a whole movie about it. But it evolves, so it can't be a legendary, right? As maybe the single most popular Gen 4 Pokemon, I think it makes a lot of sense that Lucario is very difficult to get as a shiny in Gen 4. In the Sinnoh games, the only ways to hunt Riolu are very slow egg hatching and even slower egg hatching. Fortunately, Heart Gold and Soul Silver introduced a faster, but still far from easy, way to shiny hunt Riolu, the place I would hunt it, the Johto Safari Zone. When talking about shiny hunting in the Safari Zone, you really can't go without mentioning Safari Week, a yearly event hosted by Absol Blog's Pokemon with collaboration from Calzone. Nominally, Safari Week is just a week where you shiny hunt in the Safari Zone, but it's grown to be so much more than that. A community-wide celebration of shiny hunting where people hunt almost non-stop for 10 days and spend hours and hours hanging out in calls with friends or even travel across the country to meet up with each other. Without Safari Week, I might have never found the courage to hunt in the Safari Zone, a frightening place where the shinies you've spent dozens of hours looking for can and will flee from you in an instant. Having a dedicated event where everyone is hunting in the zone alongside you really makes shiny hunting there a lot less intimidating, because it means that when a shiny inevitably flees from you, you're not suffering alone. Rather than Riolu being a shiny I was dying to hunt no matter what I had to do for it, I chose it just because it was the Pokemon from the Johto Safari Zone that seemed the most fun to go for when I was planning for my first Safari Week back in 2022. While I had no idea at the time, this simple choice would lead to the longest and most painful shiny hunt of all my years of full odds hunting. To start my first attempt at shiny hunting in the Safari Zone, I went in with 3 games. 1 game of Riolu, 1 game of Emerald looking for Teddiursa, and 1 game of Fire Red looking for anything. I didn't do that much hunting for this Safari Week by my current standards, so it wasn't really a surprise that the Riolu game came up empty, but I did still manage to get 1 shiny, my target in Emerald, Teddiursa. Thankfully, I managed to catch my first ever Safari shiny, but the event itself was long over by this point, so I put Riolu on hold at 5,757 encounters until next year's Safari Week. Fast forward a year, and I had decided to add a 4th game to the mix by hunting in Platinum's Great Marsh. This setup gave me 1 game in every Safari Zone in the series, and while it's a bit unwieldy to control, I love the variety it provides, and it's been my setup for every Safari Week since. I spent a bit more time hunting for my second Safari Week than my first, but a 20k drought meant it still took me over a month to get my only shiny of the event, Yanma, my target in the Great Marsh and a shiny I've wanted for years and years. Yanma is a very tricky catch thanks to its low catch rate and high flee rate, but I unbelievably managed to catch the first one I saw on the first ball. Part of me still thinks the horrible luck I would eventually have with Riolu was payback for catching Yanma so easily, but at this point I was blissfully unaware of what was to come when I wrapped up my second Safari Week still not having seen a single shiny Riolu. Going into my third Safari Week, I was getting a bit impatient that Riolu still hadn't shined. While my total at the time of 11,000 encounters isn't an unusually high number to not have found a shiny yet, it had still been 2 entire years since I had first done encounters for Riolu, and all I had to show for it was a single infection of Pokerus. One thing that was slowing me down a lot was my choice to lead my party with the ability Synchronize. This gave me a slightly better than a coin flip chance to get a good nature on my future shiny Lucario, but it also meant that I had to give up the faster encounter speed for Illuminate. The fact that you can repel trick Riolu up to 100% is very fortunate, but it does mean that you're stuck with a measly 10% encounter rate. This is already quite slow, but foregoing Illuminate meant my encounter rate was a whopping 20 times lower compared to a regular hunt with no Synchronize and no Repel trick. If I had known the hunt would take me so long, I might have just used Illuminate instead, but a bit of sunk cost fallacy ensured that I would keep using Synchronize no matter how long the hunt went. Fortunately, on June 22nd, 2024, after 11,646 Riolu seen, I was finally blessed with the first shiny of the hunt. Alright, finally found one of these. Let's just do this. I am very anxious. Okay. Ooh, stayed. Did not expect that. Yeah, this is for 11,646. My god, okay. Yeah, knew it. Okay. Well, on to phase 2. If you're observant, you might have noticed that this Riolu is female. Riolu has a 7-to-1 gender ratio, meaning only 12.5% of Riolu are female. While I was getting ready to try to capture it, the thought that Riolu might be a 1 in 8 female species was in the back of my mind, but I was too excited about finding the shiny to really think much about it. It was only after it had fled that I looked it up to confirm that the shiny that had just run away from me was much rarer than I first thought. Riolu is not an easy catch, so I was kind of expecting the first one to flee, but having it be a female was a gut punch I wasn't ready for. While the rest of my Safari Week was great, the feeling of what could have been with the female Riolu was in the back of my mind the whole time. This was most likely going to be my only chance to catch the 1 in 8 female, and it had already come and gone. When Safari Week officially ended, I had amassed a whopping 6 shinies in Gen 3, but the 2 Gen 4 games had still only given me the 1 Riolu. I really wanted something else in Gen 4, so I decided to do some overtime with only those 2 games. The next few weeks were kind of a blur to me because I was constantly half asleep from trying and failing to fix my horrific sleep schedule. This, combined with the fact that I was burned out from 10 days of almost non-stop safari hunting, meant that it took another month before I got something, but on August 9th, 2024, at 9,610 encounters this phase and 21,256 total, my second shiny Riolu finally appeared. Alright, Riolu number 2, let's try this, I guess. Please. Yeah, cool. Well, on to phase 3. At this point, I was determined to catch a shiny Riolu by the time Safari Week 2025 rolled around. I was getting a little sick of the Riolu hunt, and I really wanted to be able to finally start hunting more of the massive variety of unique targets that the Johto Safari Zone has to offer. I definitely still needed a break from the zone though, so I decided that after I finished my Cresselia hunt, I would start hunting Riolu non-stop until I got it. Cresselia shined only 3 months later, ending one long journey just to continue another. Since I would now be doing Riolu as its own hunt and not just as a part of Safari Week, I needed to make a stream layout for it. Since I was also hunting Smeargle in Gen 5, and Riolu and Smeargle are both dogs, I thought it would be fun to make a dog-themed layout. I started looking around for images to use for the background and was shocked to find one that couldn't be more perfect. This official Nintendogs promotional image that had 2 dogs across from each other playing their DSs. The amount of luck I needed for there to actually be official art that fit nicely onto a stream layout of 2 dogs with 2 DSs when I was shiny hunting 2 dogs on 2 DSs is still absolutely astonishing to me. By this point, I was also getting really sick of the boring Arial font I had been using for most of my stream layouts, so I decided to start thinking about looking into other fonts I could use. What followed was something that I never would have expected, the start of something that changed my stream forever.
You need a font that isn't Arial at all. Yeah, you really do. Is there like a dog font? Can you get a dog themed font? Okay, I'm seeing dog fonts. 28 free dog fonts? Dog fonts. Looking for dog fonts? I like to find the best 99 free fonts in the dog style. Every font is free to download. My fonts. Dog fonts. Explore dog fonts at My Fonts. Discover a world of captivating typography for your creative products. Dog font vector art. Icons and graphics for free download. Good dog font. Only fonts with accents Europe, good dog, A by font head design, in fancy, greater than cartoon. Family dog font, web font and desktop, dog font, Etsy. Check out our dog font selection for the very best unique handmade custom pieces from our papercraft shops. Dog font illustrations, 22,920 dog font illustrations. Dog fonts, dog fonts, dog fonts. Yeag. 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 Dog fonts? Yeag. What's your favorite dog font? Dude, I'm a dog fonts fiend. I don't have a favorite. You gotta use a dog font, dude. If you use a cat font, I'll be upset. I almost threatened your life.
With a new identity for my Riolu hunt and a fresh coat of paint for my stream, it was time to get back to business and start doing encounters. After months of focusing on my slow and grindy roaming Cresselia hunt, the Riolu encounters flew by, and in less than a month, the third shiny Riolu of the hunt appeared on December 15th, 2024 after 7,608 encounters and 28,864 total so far. Alright, shiny Riolu number 3. Just throw a ball. Looks very good. I want to keep it. First ball. 1. Nope. Please. God dang it. On to phase 4. After the third Riolu, I wanted to focus more on Smeargle and my absurd Feebas hunt that will be the story of a different video, so my pace with the hunt slowed significantly. Still, Riolu number 4 at least had the decency to show up quickly, being the first phase to be significantly under odds at 3,747 encounters for a total of 32,611 on February 11th, 2025. By that point I was tired of filling them on my own, so I got some people in a call to watch the capture attempt. However, I was not at all ready for what they were about to do. Yay, shiny Riolu number 4. I want this to stay in the Pokeball. That'd be really cool.
Dog font, dog font,
Dog font, dog font, dog font, dog font, dog font, dog font, dog font, dog font.
I hate this video game. Oh my god. What do I have to do to appease you?
The silence, the silence before it fled. Everyone stopped.
That's my like 4th shiny in a row that's a phase technically. I hate it here. See you for the next idiot dog. Bye. By this point, I had tried everything. I was hunting a yellow shiny on a yellow DS with a yellow menu border, I was using a dog-themed layout with dog fonts, had a dog fonts chant going. For the third one, I even had Anubis in the call when I found it, when Riolu and Lucario are the Anubis Pokemon, and it still wasn't enough to appease any of the yellow dogs that I had found. I complained about it on Twitter, and my friend Quick Panic said that the reason I hadn't caught one yet was because I was hunting with animations off. By then I had already done more encounters than it should normally take to catch a shiny Riolu, made even worse by the fact that my Riolu hunt was slower than most because I was still using a single game and cutting my encounter rate in half to use Synchronize, and he wanted me to make it even slower by turning animations on? Reluctantly, I did it anyway in hopes of finally convincing a shiny Riolu that I wanted it badly enough for it to want to be caught. The next Riolu was also the first and only one that I found on stream, and it was found on March 17th, 2025 after 3,840 encounters. With a new total of 36,451, Riolu is now my longest hunt of all time in terms of total number of encounters. Shiny Riolu! Yippee! Alright, time to get anxious. Here we go. Zero shakes. Wow, it stayed. I've had the last 3 of these ran on the first turn. Come on. 1, 2. Dang it. Please. Okay. Okay. One. Come on. I'm shocked it is still here. I think the most I've had one of these stays, like 1 turn. This has a, you know what, I'm not even gonna say that. 1. Okay. It's a 47% chance to flee every turn, I think. So the fact that it's still here. Okay. Bye-bye. Phase 6 time. Not only did the animations not help, but this Riolu stayed for twice as many turns as the first 4 combined, and it still wasn't enough to catch it. By this point, I was getting numb to them fleeing, to the point where I didn't even think I'd be really that anxious for the next one. Unfortunately for my mental state, I would be in for a rude awakening, because the next Riolu was another 1 in 8 female. After the first one had fled, I had already resigned myself to the idea that I wouldn't get another chance to catch a female shiny Riolu, so while I was obviously very excited to have another shot at one 10 months later, it kicked my anxiety into overdrive. I found it after 7,768 encounters and a ridiculous total of 44,219 on April 24th, 2025, with only 2 months left to avoid the nightmare scenario of having to hunt Riolu for a 4th straight safari week. I found this one while I was on the phone with my dad, who doesn't really know what shinies are, so I had to hold my reaction to just a gasp and then an internal scream when I noticed it was female. I quickly ended the conversation with what I'm sure was a very confusing explanation for him, waited an agonizing few minutes for my lunch to finish cooking in the oven, then went upstairs, got all my stuff set up to record, and gathered my friends so I would have people to share my upcoming misery with. Alright, shiny female Riolu number 2, 6th one overall. I was really telling myself like, oh man, I've failed so many of these now that this one's not going to be that bad. It's just going to be more of the same. But of course it's female now, so it's not more of the same. I'm just going to throw this ball. Oh god. Okay.
Okay, watcher.
Dog fonts, gotta keep going.
Dog fonts, dog
Dog
fonts,
fonts,
dog
dog
fonts,
fonts, dog fonts, dog fonts, dog fonts.
Okay.
Yo.
I'm just expecting them to flee at this point, and when I don't, I'm like shocked.
Dog fonts,
dog
dog
fonts,
fonts,
dog
dog fonts, dog fonts, dog fonts.
Yes! Let's go!
Teal yeag.
Oh my god, I caught the female one. I blew out everyone's eardrums. I'm sorry. No nickname. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Ah,
Balba.
ah. I got the female one. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Ah.
Dog fonts, hell yeah.
Thank you guys. The chant didn't work last time, but it did this time, so I'm gonna say it's because of you. Jesus Christ, I didn't think I'd pop off like that. Dude, I got a female one, I can't believe it. That makes failing the male ones worth it, like genuinely. Like, this is one of the coolest shinies I have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the universe wanted you to have the female one.
Yeah, the first one was female, and the last one is female. How poetic. I cannot believe I caught one that stayed twice. Like, all of them after the first one until the 5th one. So 2, 3, and 4. All of those did not stay. So, not a single turn. Alright, any nature guesses?
Sassy.
You're too.
Is that a synchronized nod
Right.
too? That's my first question.
Oh, that's a good point. Don't worry about that.
I'm changing my guess. I'm changing my guess, Jolly.
Okay. Okay, assuming it doesn't work, everyone's guessing Jolly. What's your second guess?
I'm
Calm.
gonna say docile just because clearly
Oh,
Ho-Oh
serious.
synchronized it after the
No
Nazi
synchronized.
show.
Oh.
I'm changing to serious.
Okay. And got other shinies. It
It's just showing off at this
is
point.
Jolly! Oh my god! And
Yay.
the highest Ivy's attack. That's insane. And it's inner focus, which is like very slightly better. Jesus Christ, this might be my new favorite shiny. Okay, no it isn't, but so it's one of them. Anyways, if you watched all 4 minutes and 20 seconds of this nonsense, thank you, but I'm gonna end the recording now.
Dog fonts,
dog fonts forever. Goodbye.
Dog fonts.
Hi, so it's like 5 minutes after the last recording, and like everyone left the call, but I realized I forgot to like show it following me and send out into battle and stuff, so I'm gonna do that. I guess I didn't really make a big deal of that, but yeah, here it is. It's so cool. It's focusing its attention on me. What do you think I'm focusing my attention on, buddy?
Looks so good.
It does. Like this, the like screen quality doesn't do it justice. It's so much like more vibrant yellow on the actual system. We have a regular Growlithe and shiny Riolu. I don't know if I've ever seen that animation before, but shiny female Riolu. I don't know what to do with my life now. I don't know if it's going to be a YouTube video or not, so if it is, thanks for watching and being alive. Yeah, bye. If it wasn't obvious from my reaction and general disposition after I caught it, I was absolutely over the moon to have this Riolu. Not only was the long journey finally over, but I somehow actually caught a 1 in 8 female after resigning myself to never seeing another one again. As if that wasn't enough, all the extra time I had spent using Synchronize over Illuminate had paid off, meaning I had a comically rare, jolly female shiny Riolu with a max attack IV. If you had showed me this summary screen before I caught my Riolu, I would have assumed it was a hacked or RNG manipulated Pokemon. On top of how rare and useful my new shiny Riolu was, the fact that the journey to get it took so long made me feel an even stronger connection to it. Having failed 5 shiny Riolu already meant that the one that finally stayed felt like it did so because it liked me enough to actually want me to catch it. Obviously this is all just pixels and code in a video game, but a big part of why I love Pokemon so much has always been how perfectly crafted it is to lend itself to these kinds of stories and interpretations. It sometimes feels so easy to lose your sense of imagination as you grow up, by doing things like pretending a matching menu border can influence a Safari shiny to stay, or crafting a narrative about how the Pokemon you encounter feel about you can really bring you back to a time when you didn't know how everything in these games worked and earnestly thought that whatever silly explanation you imagined for a game mechanic might really be the actual truth. Of course, catching the Riolu was just the beginning. From here, I had tons of stuff planned to do with my new buddy. A no-brainer for any Heart Gold Soul Silver shiny is to collect shiny leaves and get the leaf crown. It had been a while since I'd last done this, so I'd forgotten all about this awesome certificate you get alongside it. While the text here is maybe embellishing things a little much for a Pokemon I had just caught a few days ago, it's still really fitting when you think about how much effort I had to put in to get it in the first place. I also wanted to see shiny Riolu in as many contexts as possible before I evolved it, because I certainly wouldn't be getting another one in Gen 4 for a very, very long time. I made sure to check it out in Battle Revolution, where it has this silly Naruto run animation when it attacks. From here, I took a quick picture with Cameron the photographer, Eevee trained it, and then finally got around to evolving it. Once I had it evolved, I did most of the same stuff again. I checked out the following sprite, saw this sick back sprite animation, and took it back to Battle Revolution, where the colors and animations look absolutely phenomenal. After this, the only things I had left to do were train it up to level 100, show Riley how much cooler my Lucario was than his, and have a mirror of it added to the ranch from Sir Toastito's 24-hour My Pokemon Ranch stream. While that's all I have planned for it in this video, rest assured that I have so many more things I want to do with this Lucario. Who knows, maybe it'll even star in a future video, but as for this one, that's all I've got for you today. Subscribe if you want to see more of the story side of shiny hunting, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.